Hello, I'm Sean Thomas, and today I'm going to go over my Project 2 Weather Program V3. Um, as you can see here, we have pretty much the same program from um, Project 1. Um, we can still change the Fahrenheit to Celsius. And click it, yeah. So now it's at Celsius, as you can see, and we still have the zip code screen and all the corresponding functionality for the zip code. It's an invalid one, and that's a valid one, I guess. Um, But now we have more functionality. So I'm going to go over all the functionality that I added. Um, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is the SHT40 and VCNL 4040 integrations. Um, so now we can read information directly from the SHT40 and VCNL 4040 directly without using the Adafruit libraries by talking over the wire in the I2C bus directly. Um, and then I'll walk through the code for that later. And then now we have a local weather screen. Um, so this is what it looks like. As you can see here, we have the local live local weather indication on the top left. We have the temperature in Celsius, and also we can have it in Fahrenheit if we press the same button. So that's the local weather where I'm currently at using the SHT40. And then we also have the humidity percentage as well, which also uses the SHT40. And in the bottom right, we have the timestamp from when the data is last refreshed. So we can toggle between the zip code um, and the local weather as well. And then if you want to get back to the original weather screen, you just click the same button twice. So if I was in zip code, I'd click that twice. Um, if I was in local weather, I'd click that twice, and I'd go back. Um, so yeah, I also needed to show that if you press the button, you can change the display from Fahrenheit to Celsius, similar to how you can in the actual weather app as well. Um, so I believe I demoed everything for the screen. And then now we can show the functionality of the VCL 4040 and I guess just that piece. So now the screen will turn off if you get too close to the VCL 4040's proximity. So if I touch it, um, I set the value to be pretty close to it. So when I touch it, it turns the screen off, and then when I remove my finger, it goes back to the actual screen. So you can see again, I touch it. The proximity sensor is what's picking that up. And then if I go back to the weather app screen, um, again, if I touch this, it turns off, and then if I remove my finger, it's gonna turn back on. Um, there's also another feature. This is the dimming and ambient light sensor. So as you can see the screen, um, currently, if I the screen is currently the screen brightness is currently based on the ambient light of the room. So if I go ahead and um, cover the VCNL 40 a little bit, you'll see the screen dim. Then if I move my hand, it will become brighter. And I also get it even darker. Um, yeah, so you can see there it gets even darker. And then if I put my phone's flashlight on, I guess it won't let me. Um, I guess if I move the VCNL 4040 closer to the computer, um, it should get brighter, but I don't have a good way to get light to it. Um, but yeah, I still demoed the screen brightness by covering up. As you can see it getting darker. And then if I go back um, to the local weather screen, if I go back to Fahrenheit, if I cover up the SHT40, temperature should go up a little bit. And then also the humidity should go down if I move my hand. So I believe that's all the code that I need to demo, or the features that I need to demo for this. So I'm going to walk through the actual code. So I updated the template code a little bit to just simplify its work for the SHT40 and VCNL 4040. So this essentially just begins the wire by taking in the SDA and SCL pin and giving it a frequency. This looks for all the addresses that we can use for both so we can look for both the um, SHT40 and VCNL 4040. And then this essentially will read data at a given address. So we'll give the address to the wire, get the data from it, and then end the connection. And then we will keep reading the information from the wire, from those bytes. And then you can also write information to the through the wire as well, through this function, by giving it an address and the data that you want to write, and then ending the transmission. The secrets.hppp has my API key in that, so I'm not going to open that. And then this is the header file for all the stuff that I changed as well. And then here's the actual code. So all the new stuff, it should be in here. So this is all template code we were given pretty much. And then I have this sensor data struct to pretty much bundle all of my sensor data value together so I can get in just one function. And then I have this sensor mode so I can toggle the 3 screens. Or actually, that's the straw mode. I think this is not even being used right now. And then this is the proximity threshold to determine how close you need to be to the VCNL 4040 to turn the screen off. And then, so this right here, this function, leave right here. What happens right here is we begin the VCNL 4040 reads for ambient light, white light, and proximity. We convert the ambient light and white light to the lux, and then we begin the transmission through the wire. Or I guess this just sets it up. And then for the SHT40, we begin the transmission to the wire because it's more simple than the VCNL 4040. And then we write to the address. And there's, I believe, 3 options in the data sheets, and this is the high precision option. Then we end the transmission. And then we get the data from the temperature and then also the humidity. And we do the conversion to get Fahrenheit for the temperature, and then the conversion for the humidity data. I believe that was in the data sheet as well. And then we put all our information into the struct for the sensor data struct and return it. And in this function, we have pretty much just the UI for the local weather screen. So it takes the sensor data struct and then unboxes it and uses the information inside of this function. And then we also have the same timestamp logic that's used for the home page weather screen or whatever as well. And then we have this function that essentially will take the ambient light brightness, and then it will determine a value for it, so that we can map the brightness of the stream for the dimming based on the ambient light. So that's all the functions I want to show. I had some of the generic template code from the template to the setup as well. And then in the loop, I call the sensor data function to get my sensor data struct. And then I have this else if to determine if the stream should turn off from the proximity. from the VCNL 4040. And then if it needs to turn off, then we just return. And then right here, essentially what happens is we determine what the screen brightness should be from the ambient light by using this. And then we use this set LCD voltage to dim the screen, pretty much. And then here I changed the latch a little bit. Um, I could have used an enum, I guess, but this is fine for whatever. To just determine what screen we need to be on because it's a bit confusing because there's only 2 buttons for 3 screens essentially. Um, this logic's the same for the weather screen. And then right here essentially is what's new is the draw sensor screen, which takes the sensor data struct and then delay 20 to allow you to press the button pretty much. And I believe that's all the changes. As you can see here, this does not use the Adafruit library. This talks directly to the wire in the I2C bus. So yeah, I believe that's all the functionality and the features I wanted to demo for EGR 425 Reddit 2 Weather Program V3.